What's up, everybody? This is LA Knight, and I am back again with the Booktube Newbie Tag, which was created a while ago by Brenda C. Now, the reason I'm doing this, even though I've had this channel for like 10 bazillion years, was that originally I created this channel for something other than Booktube, and then when I started filming videos, I didn't do enough consecutively that I didn't upload them, quick enough. So I didn't really consider this to be a channel per se, and also I actually did film this tag way back in like 2014, 2013 maybe? I think 2014. But never got around to editing the footage. And the thing is that unlike with podcasts and audio broadcasts where it's just audio only, with videos I have to do a lot more, and it takes a lot more time and a lot more I'm gonna say effort, and I don't mean that I'm not putting effort into these podcasts, but I have to do a lot more with myself. And the reason I like doing podcasts is because I could literally be sitting here in my pajamas and you guys would never know. And, and also you wouldn't care because you don't have to see me in my pajamas. I could be sitting here in my underwear, although I'm not. But, and I don't have a lot of nice clothes that are also comfortable to wear, that I can wear for the amount of time it takes to film tags most of the time. So yeah, if I mess up on a tag when I'm filming it, it requires a lot more time to fix it. So the Booktube Newbie Tag is basically introducing yourself to Booktube, and I made a New Year's resolution after New Year's, so like a month ago, that I was going to start doing more podcasts and stuff this year and try to be more active and consistent with my posting, which reminds me I have to upload a video or a podcast in about 90 minutes. And because of that, I feel like, it's a good way to get a fresh start, and to start my fresh start, really, I'm going to do the newbie tag. So, question number 1, why did you start this channel? Originally, I started this channel actually to make videos for something else. I can't remember which came first. I made a lot of, like, really short, like, 15, 30-second teasers for books that I was writing. But then also I made a bunch of church music videos for a church project, and I don't remember which one I did first. I think I did the church videos first, and I think that's why I created the channel. But I could be wrong. But the reason I decided to do Booktube was because I thought it would be fun. Ages ago, Lori and Kitty Books showed me the Poland Banana Books book buyer rant and her book scoffers video, and then I found out that like other people do stuff like that, and I was like, that's really interesting. I kind of want in on this. It's just that I don't have the resources that a lot of other booktubers have. Like, I don't have a camera. That's one of the reasons why I don't film videos, is because the camera that I had, because I wasn't filming consistently, I gave it to Lori and Kitty Books, and then it ended up breaking. Not her fault, but it broke. Now she has a good camera, but it's valuable enough, because it's more than like $50. It's valuable enough. I don't want to borrow it in case I break it. Also, the reason I decided to start booktubing specifically is because I have things I want to say about books. I really like books. I love talking about books. I'm notorious for doing this at work, actually. So, I think it would be helpful for me, especially now, to get some of those book feels out of me, so that I don't have to express them at work in the group chat over the IM for my work team. Question number 2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? Fun things? I think I'm a little crazy pants sometimes. And I think that people say that I'm funny sometimes. I'm like, sometimes I try too hard and I'm not funny. But other times people, I'll say something and people will laugh. And I'm like, what's so funny? And then they're like, you should totally do, like, a video or something. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm not pretty enough to do a video. But, I can do a podcast. So here we go. So, I think I can be funny. But also, I think I have a unique perspective. Because I'm what I have always, since I was a kid, called a double bi. Someone who is biracial and bisexual. I'm actually technically multiracial, not biracial, because I'm about 40% white, 45% black, and 15% Native American. My mom is white with Apache, and my dad is black with some Creek Indian. And so I think because of where I grew up, and also being biracial, multiracial, I have a unique perspective on racial issues, I think, and how books affect that, and how media can affect that. Um, and also I'm bisexual, so you know, there's a lot of bi erasure in, not in the booktube community, but in like the book appreciation community. I didn't notice it as much when I first started uh, doing videos, because I wasn't really aware of that sort of thing. When that sort of thing would happen to me, any kind of erasure or discrimination, I didn't realize that it was based in marginalization. I thought it was me. I thought it was just people didn't like me. Um, and that's something that came from when I was a kid. I didn't realize that people actually took issue with the fact that I was multiracial. I thought they just didn't like me because, like, of my personality, and they were using other things, like the fact that I was multiracial, as like an excuse to bother me. And it was really the other way around. I was multiracial, and so they were using other things about me as an excuse to make fun of me. But I didn't realize that as a kid, because in the environment I started out in for the first 7 years of my life, racism of that sort wasn't something in my sphere of experience. And I don't know if my parents deliberately shielded me from that or not, but I didn't realize for a long time that racism was a thing still. I mean, as a kid, I didn't realize that people still had issues with racism, and I really didn't realize that people were still homophobic. I didn't realize as a kid that was a thing. I have 3 gay uncles, which I actually, thinking about it, is like a little odd, like numbers wise. But yeah, I have 3 gay uncles, and then also my uncle's dickbag ex-boyfriend. But so I guess technically 4 gay uncles. Um, and like, it never occurred to me that people would have an issue at the time that I was growing up in the late 90s with me being bisexual, until it was brought to my attention before I came out, thank God, that where I grew up, being not straight was a really big deal. And I was like, well, that's one thing that I can actually hide from people and not give them something else to bother me about. So I think that, those things contribute to the fact that I think, a unique perspective on books. And then on top of that, I have Asperger's syndrome, and I've been told that because I have Asperger's, this gives me a way of looking at things that neurotypical people do not have. I wouldn't know that for a fact, but I believe the neurotypical friends I have who say that they have never thought about certain things in the way that I think about them. And then on top of that, I'm Mormon. So, a bisexual, multiracial, autistic Mormon woman, I think I have a unique perspective. Question number 3. What are you most excited for about this new channel? I'm excited that I might be able to get my thoughts out into cyberspace without having to put myself out there in a way that I don't want to. I don't really like being on camera. I did it for Lorian because she likes doing videos and she wanted to share this with me, and I wasn't comfortable enough with myself to express that I'm just not comfortable being on camera because I don't like the way I look. Even in real life. So I certainly don't like the way I look on camera, because, like, on camera you gotta wear makeup or you look like you're dead, and you gotta wear the right makeup or you look like your face is melting off. And I'm kind of a self-conscious person when people are looking at me. Part of that is because I'm a little shy. Part of that is because I have Asperger's. Part of that is because I have PTSD. It's all a whole big combination. But I don't like being looked at, and so I was worried that I wouldn't be able to share my thoughts, my book thoughts, with people, and instigate and take part in fun discussions about books, fun and respectful discussions about books, without having to put myself out there in a way I wasn't comfortable with. And now I figured out a way to do that. Question number 4. Why do you love reading? Actually, I'm going to give the very nitpicky, sciencey answer. It's because my mom deliberately molded my neural pathways when I was a kid, like a little kid, so that I would associate reading with pleasurable experiences and feelings. What she did, well, you guys have probably heard of, like, Pavlov's dog, where, like, Pavlov rings the bell, and then he feeds the dog, and so then, like, after a while, he would ring the bell, and the dog would start salivating because he would associate the sound of the bell with getting fed. My mom, specifically when I was about 3 years old, set out to set it up so that, as I got older, I would associate reading with pleasure. And so what she would do was, when she was teaching me how to read, she would set up this reward system where she first, for over a summer, she taught me 100 words, what they looked like on this chart, and every time I got a word right, she would give me a sticker of a certain color, and every time I got it right within a certain amount, if I got it right for 7 days in a row, then I'd get a sticker of a different color, and of course little kids love stickers, most of them. She wouldn't put it on me, though, because I didn't like having stickers on me, but she would put it on my chart so I could look at it and be like, yeah, I got a sticker. And then at the end of the row, if I had, a certain number of certain colored stars in that row, then she would take me to McDonald's, which, when I was 3, it was like, oh my God, McDonald's. And so that cemented this, if I read, then good things will happen. And she, as I got older, she obviously weaned me off of that, so that, by the time I'm like 10, obviously, I'm not getting McDonald's every time I, read a book, but it's still, the good feelings are still there. Question number 5. What book or book series got you into reading? The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Going back to when I was 3, I saw the animated Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is actually not very good, and took out a lot of the religious symbology, which I actually don't care if they did or not, but took out a lot of the religious symbology, so there's no Santa Claus in this one. But I saw the animated one. It was my first exposure to C.S. Lewis. I'd never even heard of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe before. I mean, of course not. I was 3 years old. And I was like, ooh, I really like this movie. Well, at the same time that this was happening, my brother, who was 8 at the time, was assigned The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe in school. And so I was telling my mom about this movie because I wanted to try to find it at Blockbuster. I saw it at daycare. I wanted to find it at Blockbuster, but I didn't know what it was called. And my brother was like, that sounds like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And so he brought out his copy of the book that he'd gotten for school, and he read me the back, and I was like, it's a book? That's so cool. This was before I actually knew how to read. Like, I could read, like, a little bit. I could pick out, like, individual letters in picture books and stuff, but I couldn't string a sentence together. And I was like, that's so cool, it's a book. Mommy, will you read it to me? And my mom was like, I don't have time to read you a chapter book. And I was like, oh, okay. And my brother, because me and my brother were, like, super tight when I was little, was like, I'll read it to you. So we spent, maybe an hour every day reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe on his bed. And it was actually pretty cool. I mean, because, how many 8-year-old boys are willing to read their 3-year-old sisters a book? My brother actually doesn't like reading, for one thing, which is why it was a big deal. And then we got to the end, and of course, when little kids get to the end of a story that they like, what do? Again! So my brother ended up reading this book to me like 10 or 15 times, and finally he was like, Catherine, I don't want to read this to you again. And I was like, but I want you to read it to me again. And so finally he went to my mom. He's like, Mom, can you please teach her how to read so she can read the damn book herself? Except he didn't say damn, of course, because he was 8. But, the feeling was there. He was like, please, I can't keep reading this book. And so my mom taught me how to read. And so The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is the book that got me into reading. Question number 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktuber? I'm not going to say who my favorite booktuber is because I don't want to make it seem like I'm, like, giving them hate or anything. Because I don't hate them. I love them. They are my favorite, obviously. But my question is, why don't you like fairies? Other than Sarah J. Maas's fairies, which, I mean, I feel some kind of way about those fairies. But other than Sarah J. Maas's fairies, why don't you like fairies? Fairies are freaking cool. You make me so sad. But she is never going to hear this podcast, so, there's no point in naming who it is. Question number 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? There's 2. One is getting my name out there. I know that it's a matter of both perseverance, talent, And luck, and also being widely read, but luck is the big one for getting your name out among the booktube community and becoming one of the big boppers. And you know, if the luck isn't there, it may not happen for me, even if I do everything else right. And then the other thing is not losing my voice. I work at a call center, and I work 32 hours a week. And then, of course, I also do talk to people, like, in my, personal life. And so I basically spend between 5.5 to 8 hours a day talking almost nonstop for work. And then I have conversations, of course. And then, I talk to my roommate and my husband and my best friend when, we hang out together. And then I also want to do podcasts, and usually they're anywhere between 10 and 30 minutes long. So that's a lot of talking, and I can't do it every day either, because depending on how late I work depends on whether I can do a podcast. And so I have to do more than one podcast at a time on the days that I can do them. So that's a lot of talking, and there have been times where I've lost my voice. And even when I haven't lost my voice, the muscles in my throat, not my vocal cords, but the muscles around them, have gotten really, really sore for days at a time. And so that can be really difficult. So that is my booktube newbie tag. I hope you guys, learned something about me. I hope I didn't bore you too much. And I will look forward to seeing you guys in the next, talking to you guys in the next podcast. Bye. Bye. Bye.